I've been carrying my earth suit for over a quarter of a century now, and I have to say that sometimes it's hard to find the silver lining. I've been trying to please the master tailor, but it seems like sin is the fabric of our lives. This program called free will often leaves me on sensory overload. When my flesh gets in the way, my spirit does not compute. I try to walk the straight and narrow, but it's a rough commute. I need a reboot. In a world where being godless has gone viral, we'd rather Facebook than face the book. It's kind of hard to stay on program. Trying to make our world seem picture perfect, we stay on Instagram, getting our highs off of 20 or more likes. It's kind of hard to be a hope dealer. When our addictions have taken so many forms, we can't tell the difference between street and store pharmaceuticals. Just think, your drug overdose can take the form of a cubicle. Priorities get misfiled. It's a fight to get with the program. I need a reboot. Trying not to be desensitized and let apathy override, I often avoid watching CNN because I see an end for needs improvement. In the mass of it all, I don't know where to begin. My program runs somewhere between wanting to be Superman and here we go again. I'm getting tired of seeing my brothers carried away in body bags and made infamous by hashtags as a people petition to an injustice that their lives matter. Still, it's hard for me to see color because I can't see past the darkness. I need a reboot. And it's hard to make lemonade out of Don's lemons. It's only pain that gets poured out. I get wrecked by the sex trafficking of our women. I get sick as I see ISIS make human kebabs out of our fellow Christians, Boko Haram and 147 Kenyans. It's all too much to take in. I find myself doing more worrying than praying. How do I sustain as a human being when being human is getting more and more inhumane? As I let it sink in, I start to go insane because I want to save the world. But I realize that I can't even save myself. I need a reboot. So I began facing the book, downloading the owner's manual, updating the operating system. I discovered the ultimate blueprint. Over 2,000 years ago, the owner encased himself in an earth suit. For a third of a century, Jesus, the Alpha and Omega 2.0, he was 100% God and 100% man. He was a God-man. He was flawless, perfect, pure, completely without spiritual blemish. He maximized the limits while still humbly holding the power of life and death at his tongue. Blinded by love, he healed the sightless, the sick, the lame, and the dumb. He fed 5,000 out of crumbs. He turned water into wine, walked on water, cast out demons, raised the dead to life. He was divine. He showed us how to live, how to pray, and most importantly, how to love. He mastered the human experience while experiencing it as a God-man, just so he could understand what we were going through and expand his empathy towards us. He was the software fix, giving us forgiveness for the virus called sin. He traded his grave for grace. Directly from the owner's manual, it reads, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever so believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life." He died to be the invisible ink in a suicide note. He died to be the cornerstone on death row. He died to trade the crackheads for a solid rock. He died to be the director's cut in the life of a porn star. He died so the alcoholics could find God at the bottom of a bottle of vodka. He died to bridge the gap between Selma and Ferguson. He died to be the leading martyr for all slaughtered Christians, leading them into heaven where glory awaits them. And 3 days after he died, he rose again. Then he ascended into heaven to sit on the right hand of God the Father Almighty, where he direct connects for us as the ultimate server. God created the greatest broadband network that ever existed, generated solely off of belief, giving us access to him 24/7 through the works of his son. This is Operation Hope. Now, where two or more agree in his name, we enter God's network. His company is public in churches worldwide, and infinity is his net worth. Jesus paid in full. But if a check clears in the bank of God, you can't afford to be alone because he's trying to reap the debt of 1 trillion souls, and everyone is worth trying to save. Invest your beliefs in him, and he will build a mansion for you in his Silicon Valley that is heaven. I invested in him, and he saved me from myself. Now, As a hope dealer, I recognize that we stand in a world wide web of problems, but if you enter God's network, his data plan will never fail you. Now, sometimes I wrestle with doubt, and I have Metro PCS with God. But when I pray, fast, and praise, I got Verizon with God, but I don't get it confused. His vision is not based on religion, for God so loved that he coded the beta Adam to his specification according to his purpose. For following, he created the beta 2.0 woman, Eve. After discovering that it was not good for man to be alone, he gave them one rule: not to eat from a tree. But they ate from the apple that brought us from Macintosh to Microsoft. Humanity now hacked by a virus called sin. Separation from him. The binary code now writ, software encrypted with wickedness. God then looked at his generation's creation with regrets. Even he needed a reboot. I'm convinced that even God needs Jesus, because if the love of a creator can lead to destruction, in order to be a just God, he had to be just God, the Father, the Creator, the Alpha and the Omega, the CEO, the author and the finisher. And in the end, he will destroy evil for good. He will perfect his creation. His hope is in his operation, but we have to continue to make his media social. We have to continue to make Operation Hope global, with the hope that Jesus, the ultimate server, is coming back for one final reboot.